Everybody, welcome to the Queen Anne's County Commissioners Meeting. This is a public meeting that is being aired live on our local cable television station, QACTV 7. These media broadcasts provide county citizens an opportunity to watch and review our scheduled public meetings. In addition to our live audience this evening, we are providing remote options for citizens to watch and participate in county commissioner meetings. Citizens may watch our meeting live on our website at qac.org/live or on our public access governmental television channel provided by Breezeline Cable Services. Citizens may also participate by joining the live Zoom meeting by going to qac.org/public comment, and citizens may also email comments to publiccomment@qac.org, and all comments received will be summarized during the press and public comment period on tonight's agenda. We acknowledge everyone's participation, and by attending you acknowledge that this session is both recorded and aired. Press and public comment will be taken and is limited to 3 minutes per person. If you do care to speak, please sign up at the information table out in the lobby. Comments longer than 3 minutes can be submitted in writing for the Commissioner's review. We will now stand and be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Commission Vice President Phil Dumanel.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and for the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Commissioners, that brings us to the approval of the agenda for today's meeting, March 25th, along with the regular session minutes, the Sanitary Commission minutes, and the closed session minutes for March 11th. All of these materials have been circulated for your review. Do we have any additions or corrections?
Are they action items? Or desk items?
The 2 desk items.
They are, 2. Okay. Amend the agenda to include 2 additional desk items. Second.
Can I get a second?
You said second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Motion to accept the agenda as amended and approve all the minutes as submitted. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you, Jack.
All right. Thank you, Commissioners. All right, folks, we just had a closed session under the General Provisions Article, Section 3305B1, to discuss personnel, and Section 3305B3 to discuss land acquisition. No decisions were made in the executive session. So we can move into press and public comments. So we appreciate all citizens for taking time to express your views to the County Commissioners. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Comments longer than 3 minutes can be submitted in writing. This commission respects everyone's desire to convey their message freely. When you come forward, please speak clearly at the standing microphone. State your name, your address, and your topic of interest. And in keeping with the dignity of our office, we ask that all views be expressed in a respectful and civil manner.
We have Barbara Pivick.
Good evening. It's been a long time since I've been up here.
Good evening.
My name is Barb Pivick, and I live at 102 Rutledge Road in Queenstown, Maryland. And I'm here on behalf of the Queen Anne's County Historical Society as a lifetime member and a past president. And I wanted to, thank you for your support on for your verbal written support on our efforts to get a Preservation Maryland grant to start a long-term and aggressive campaign to restore Tucker House, the only house here in Queen Anne's County that has a Maryland historic easement on it. And it's one of the first homes that was ever built here in Centerville on the second lot, and we're just very excited. It has not been open since 2022, and it will be open this April, the first Saturday, and the first Saturday through December. So we want to thank you for that, and I also want to share with you that the Queen Anne's County Historical Society, along with other historic consortium partners, is sponsoring the Maryland House and Garden Pilgrimage this year. We have it here in the county again. It's not something we have every year. This year we'll have the Galloway House. I don't know if you remember the house that was brought up the
Oh, yeah.
river on a barge.
On a barge,
That's going to be
sure.
on tour this year. And in the Grossman Farm down on Bennett Point, there's a beautiful sculpture garden that is going to be on the tour, and everyone is welcome to go to the Maryland House and Garden Pilgrimage on the internet, and there's a QR card there, and you can buy your tickets. And I'm here to give you guys a few of our magazines that people, when they buy their tickets, will get.
All right.
Excellent.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. So thank you for your support, and as always, you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Barb, when is the tour?
Bruce,
May 3rd?
anybody?
The tour is May 3rd.
And how could folks that are listening get a hold of you?
Say that again.
How can folks get a hold of you if they have questions?
Oh, if anybody has questions, everybody in the county knows, you just dial 443-994-7505. I'll pick up that phone and tell you where it is. So, thank you.
Thank you, Barb.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody, no email? Anybody else would like to speak? Okay, we'll close press and public comment.
Commissioners, we can move into legislation, so if you want to turn to tab number 7 in your books. So tab number 7, item A, pages 1 through 4, we have a public hearing, and it is 5:50, so this was scheduled for 5:40, so we can proceed. This is a public hearing on County Ordinance 25-02 for the Animal Control Commission, and it's a bill entitled An Act Concerning the Reconsideration and Judicial Review of the Decisions of the Queen Anne's County Animal Control Commission. So Mr. Thompson is here, and Ms. Sharon Brinster is here as well. So Mr. Thompson, you want to administer the hearing, please?
Certainly. On February 25th, 2025, Commissioner Dumanel introduced County Ordinance 2502, a bill entitled An Act Concerning Reconsideration and Judicial Review of the Decision of the Queen Anne's County Animal Control Commission for the purpose of revising and updating the provisions of the Queen Anne's County Animal Control Ordinance, Chapter 9 of the Code of Public Local Laws of Queen Anne's County, as respects reconsideration and judicial review of decisions of the Animal Control Commission, providing for reconsideration, request for reconsideration and the procedures applicable thereto, providing for the procedure for consideration of such requests, and generally dealing with and providing for reconsideration and judicial review decisions of the Queen Anne's County Animal Control Commission by repealing and readopting Section 98H of the Code of Public Local Laws. This hearing is being held Tuesday, March 25th, 2025 at 5:40 p.m. in the County Commissioners Meeting Room, Liberty Building, 107 North Liberty Street, Central Maryland. Copies of the ordinance have been available at the Queen Anne's County Commissioner's Office during regular business hours or online at www.qac.org. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each. Written testimony of any length can be submitted on or before the hearing to the county commissioners. All hearing sites are accessible to individuals with disabilities. Sign language interpreters and assisted listening systems are available. Part of the record of the proceeding will be a certificate of publication indicating that notice of tonight's hearing was published in the Bay Times Record Observer for 2 consecutive weeks prior to tonight's hearing. Sharon, Jim.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Sharon Brinster, Assistant Attorney for the Animal Control Commission. I don't have a presentation for you. I feel like it's rather self-evident. We have encountered situations where cases were appealed and went to circuit court that could have been resolved easier, faster, cheaper for the county. That's really the reason for the change to the ordinance that we're proposing. I'm really just here for any questions that you or the public may have.
This is something that should have been done a while ago.
Yes. It was, yeah.
Smarter government.
I don't have anyone signed up to speak. Is there anybody here who has any public comment with respect to County Ordinance 2502?
Hold it out. All right, if nobody wants to Any public comment? We'll hold it out for 2 more weeks. We'll vote at it then.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Thank you both. All right, Commissioners, our next item under legislation is Resolution 2504. This is item number B, also under tab 7. This is pages 5 through 7. Resolution 2504, this is for the ski Phase 4, Southern Ken Island Phase 4 vacant properties, rendering of a benefit assessment. This is a follow-up action item from the public hearing that was held at the Ken Island Library last meeting regarding the ski Phase 4 sewer extension project, and this would fix and levy the special benefit assessment in the amount of $27,920 on all Phase 4 Class B vacant properties and $2,320 on all Southern Ken Island Phase 4 Class C vacant properties in that service area, effective April 1st, 2025.
I'll entertain a motion.
I move to adopt Resolution 25-04, fixing and levying a benefit assessment in the amount of $27,920 on all Southern Ken Island Phase 4 Class B vacant properties without a valid state-approved percolation test, and $2,320 on all Southern Ken Island Phase 4 Class C vacant properties with a valid state-approved percolation test with an effective billing date of April 1, 2025.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any comments? I think it was well attended, and I think for the most part, the message was very clear that these folks were pleased that this was going to take place. So, all right, call for a vote. Everybody in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
5-0.
Yeah, why we're, since we took our
Where that
first
voice
vote.
came from?
Yeah, that was not God speaking. Commissioner President Chris Corcorino is actually on assignment in Bangladesh, so he's Zooming this evening. I'm just kidding, he's not in Bangladesh.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. That is all we had for legislation this evening. If you want to, we can move into our presentations for tonight. So first up, we have our new health officer, Mr. Bryce Strang from the Health Department. He's going to give you a quick update on the County Health Department.
So
Bryce, come on
things
up.
are going well because you're here still.
Yes, absolutely. No, it's been a busy couple of months. Well, first off, good evening, gentlemen. It's been a busy couple of months, doing a lot of assessments, checking out how Queen Anne's County Health Department has done business. A lot of the same programs that I had seen in Dorchester, but of course we do it differently here. Each county kind of does. So done plenty of assessments. One of the key goals I'd like to look at in the next year.
Bryce, do me a favor, pull that mic closer to you.
Yeah.
Tendency to relax and lean back, I apologize. Is to look at an updated strategic plan. With COVID and the pandemic, things kind of got slowed and pulled back. I want to refocus our efforts for the next 3 to 5 years with a strategic plan. In order to build a strategic plan, we're going to be looking at doing needs assessments with different programs, looking at needs assessments that have been done. For example, Shore Regional Health, if you don't know, they're currently doing their community needs assessment, so I encourage people to get online and do that assessment as well. That is open through April 15th. You also get entered into a drawing for a $100 Amazon gift card. So again, I encourage that. It provides both the healthcare system and public health with some data to be able to provide and see what the community needs are. We'll also be looking to align what we're doing with the brand new state health improvement plan that was developed and published by the Maryland Department of Health last year. The 5 priority areas were chronic disease, access to care, women's health, violence, and behavioral health. Of course, we have identified gaps within those certain specific areas that we're going to be working on as well. With the retirement of Dr. Joe Ciatola, we had to find a new medical director, and I'm happy to say we have hired a part-time medical director, and his name is Dr. Joe Ciatola. So he is back.
Did you say part-time?
Yes, part-time.
Oh, we're
medical
going to make him work full-time.
Well, we split him with emergency services,
There you go.
so he is still very actively engaged in everything we're doing at the health department. Environmental health, so the delegation agreement, as you are probably aware, over the last year, there's been a lot of discussions about the delegations between what MDE delegates to the health department in terms of county sewer and water. We had a very productive last week. We finalized last week on Friday a meeting with the health officers and MDE, the latest draft. We had some good conversations. We're moving forward with like the final draft in the next couple of weeks that we're very agreeable to. Our biggest concern with the health department was the recognizance of our county groundwater protection report, which is incorporated into the county master sewer and water plan. We wanted to make sure that that was going to be identified by MDE and that was also going to be protected, and we would be legally protected for acting upon county plans. There was a little bit of a concern of legal coverage with the delegated agreement, but we were able to work that out on Friday, so we're moving forward with it. I just wanted to do a quick shout out for rabies. We do have a clinic coming up April 16th from 4 to 6 p.m. at the main health department location here in Centerville. It's $5 per animal. It's a bargain. I highly encourage everyone to attend if you need to give your pet a rabies shot. Clinical. So one of the hot topics of the day is measles. So I did want to briefly talk about measles. Oops, excuse me.
Same bill.
Sorry about that. So measles, again, it's a very highly contagious disease. A lot of common symptoms with other respiratory diseases, the runny nose, the high fever, the coughing. The signature symptom of this is the red rash that you see all over the body, and that's what you see pictures of in the news. The other part of this is just how infectious it is. It actually lasts in the air up to 2 hours after somebody who was contagious with it was in the room. So it's highly infectious. Serious complications can occur from measles, including pneumonia, brain swelling, many other complications, some complications that might not show up for many years. So that's what the big concern is between the contagiousness and the serious complications that can arise from measles. The numbers in the U.S. are 378 total cases, and this is a Friday. I'm assuming they've probably gone up over the weekend. 64 of which have been hospitalized, which is about the average. About 20% of cases do get hospitalized. This has already surpassed the entire total for the U.S., which was 285 in 2024. And the big driver of that is the outbreak that's currently going on in Texas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico. Texas, 309 cases as of Friday, with 40 hospitalized and 1 confirmed fatality. A majority of those people were unvaccinated or had an unknown vaccination status. New Mexico, 42 cases, a majority again not vaxxed or unknown vax situation, and 1 fatality under investigation. And then Oklahoma, there's 4 cases that were also linked to this outbreak. In Maryland, we have 3 confirmed cases right now. The difference is they are all associated with international travel, which is not uncommon. Over the last 2019, we had about 5. I think it was 5 in Maryland, but we average between 0 and 1 every year. So we are above average right now. But what we are doing is surveilling and making sure if we do have any cases that do pop up, we're following up with them, making sure that they get isolated. We're working with the state health department to properly treat those if they should show up.
None on the Eastern Shore, though?
Correct. 2 were in PG County, 1 Howard County. Prevention efforts, I'm going to say that vaccination is a safe and effective way to prevent measles. The MMR vaccine is a 2-dose series. Highly encourage people follow up with their healthcare provider to make sure that they have the proper coverage. If they have any questions about measles and vaccinations, of course, they can call the health department at any time. We're open. I just also wanted to point out a small proportion of adults, about 5% of the U.S. population, may have received a specific measles vaccine between 1963 and 1967. That type of vaccine was not as effective as what we're currently using today. So again, I encourage people to follow up with their healthcare provider to make sure.
Nobody up here has to worry about that.
I do.
Good news in
Right.
Maryland is, at least in the school system, looking at the data this week, 99% of Queen Anne's County students and across the state kindergarten are vaccinated, but with the full MMR series. So that's good news.
But they can get it at our Department of Health if needed?
Yes. We have the capability of providing it. We first encourage they follow up with their primary care provider. If they don't have one, they can call us so we can get some resources to them.
What would it cost them offhand?
We take insurance. All right, another thing that people can do is myirmobile.com. That is M as in Mike, Y as in Yankee, I as in India, R as in Romeo, mobile.com. And what you can do is you can register on this site and it'll pull your vaccination records from the state for you to see for yourself. I did this again this week to get them updated, and sure enough, they are updated. It is tied to the state immunization system, so that'll give you a lot of information of all the vaccines that you've had. But that's just another resource for people to use. Flu, it was another bad year for flu. Actually, the numbers this year for cases, hospitalizations, and deaths were all very high between January and now, but good news is that things are going back down, things are on the mend. It's a good thing. We don't quite know why it was a bad year, but we're assuming between mutations with the current seasonal strains going on, strain severity and likely vaccine fatigue have also contributed to those high flu numbers. But we have good news, it's going down. COVID was a very mild winter. We had a summer wave last year that was pretty busy, and likely we had some immunity through the winter to help with that. Bird flu, of course, we had the one farm in Queen Anne's County in January. We provide surveillance and monitoring for the owners and the workers. Good news is we didn't have any issues that we had to follow up on, so that was good. And we'll continue to do that should bird flu pop up again in Queen Anne's County. MIC continues to drive on. We had 79 MIC visits over the last 6 months. Our 6-month pre-post report shows a 69% reduction in hospital readmissions at 1 month, 54% reduction at 3 months, and 38% reduction at 6 months. We had 2 members of the MIC team that also received lifestyle coaching, which is for the National Diabetes Prevention Program. And they've been putting on a diabetes prevention program at the Active Aging Center at the Y. It's been going very well, and they've reported to me that 80% of the group has met their program's weight loss and physical activity goals, which surpasses the nation's average. So that's good news. Over the next 6 months, they want to take some of those lessons learned from that program and apply it to prediabetes patients within the MIC program. So I'm very excited to see where that goes. Cannabis, over the next few months, we did receive funding from the Center for Tobacco and Prevention Control to conduct assessments and surveillance in Queen Anne's County. So we're going to be doing some surveying of people across the county. We're going to be doing some active interviews with key people within the county to try and get a better understanding of how people are using it, how they're getting to it, attitudes and perceptions of usage, the effects of usage. Do people know what the effects of usage are? We're trying to get a better understanding of all that so we can tailor our strategic plan for cannabis use in Queen Anne's County to what people need and what we feel are successful interventions for that.
Psychosis, just basic things. Have you talked to the Warren Wright?
I'm sorry?
Have you talked to Warren Wright?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're collaborating with us?
Absolutely.
Good. Thanks for your support on that.
Absolutely. Prevention, we also just received a grant from the newly established Center for Firearm Violence and Prevention, which is within the Maryland Department of Health. That's a new center. We're getting funds to, one, build our own prevention program, but also identifying that law enforcement already has a pretty active program, a successful program. We're going to be supporting safe storage and education efforts for firearms in the county. So more to come on that. That is a short-term grant between now and the end of the fiscal year, the state fiscal year. And we're hoping to get that money again next year to continue that. And the sheriff is already committed to it. We're talking with state police and some town police as well to continue with those items. Peer support, continue to have a busy year. They've given out 1,382 doses of Narcan in Queen Anne's County this fiscal year. Numerous referrals. They've hit many people at many different outreach events. They've calculated about 3,000 individuals in Queen Anne's County. The most exciting thing, I guess I could say, is the new program for reentry, or the new reentry program that we've been working with the detention center on, which I'm pretty excited about. We're trying to put on a reentry simulation, which I compare that to a simulation like we would do for like a hurricane response or something, to test what it would look like, what are our gaps, what are our needs. So what it's going to be is we'll have a bunch of players or participants that get a card with a bunch of different scenarios of different life circumstances that somebody might have that's coming out of the detention center. And then all the different partner agencies will be around, and they can go to those partner agencies and say, I'm having these problems, I need these resources. And that way all the county players can see what do we need to do, what are our challenges, gaps that we need to address before we make this thing happen. That's not scheduled yet, the reentry simulation, but we're hoping to get it scheduled soon.
Could you go back to how many, did you say dosages of,
1,382 doses of Narcan.
In what time frame is that?
This is since July 1 of last year. I'm also happy to say we're going to be hosting Midshore Going Purple this year, if you didn't know. Date and time to be determined, but it's usually around the end of September. That's kind of like the culminating event of all the Shore Goes Purple events on the Midshore. So I'm very excited about that. So more information to come on that. And then lastly, opioid response funds. So I'm working to put together a small work group to develop a plan for our opioid response funds that we have. The goal is to try and come up with a plan by the end of May. Given the recent news about federal funding being pulled from the Whitsitt Center, I'm hoping that we can re-engage that plan to provide funding for the Whitsitt Center through the ORF. We'll see how that goes. I talked to Dr. Joe Ciatola about it since he had some history with it, and he agreed that it might be a good idea to reapproach that. So that's what we're going to move forward with.
That was Commissioner Moran's idea a couple years ago,
There you go.
so thanks.
So we're going to reapproach that and hope we have some success with it.
Have you spoken with Bill Webb, your counterpart in Kent County?
Quite a bit.
Okay. Have you talked about the Youth Stabilization Center that we're trying to create that Dr. Ciatola mentioned to you?
Yes, and I'm hoping to do a site visit with him after legislative session so I can really get a hands-on of what he was trying to do and what we're trying to move forward with.
Good.
Any questions?
no,
It's kind of a two-parter on that. There's more to it than just the Whitsitt Center, and I'd like to sit down and talk with you
Absolutely.
about the mental health.
so how did you talk Dr. C into staying on as a part-time consultant?
He was bored.
Good enough. Guys, anything?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very
That's
much.
a good job, thank you.
Thank you,
All
sir.
right. Thank you very much. Okay. All right, Commissioners, continuing on with our presentations. Next, we have the Director of Planning and Zoning for her department update, Amy Mordock, and she's got her team with her tonight. And there is a presentation in your book, but we also have it up on the screen here as well. So Amy, if you want to come on up and introduce your folks and take it away, please. Yeah.
All right. So, good evening, Amy Mordock, and I'm here with Lauren Pyle and Megan Peak and other members of our Citizen Access Portal, our online permitting portal team. Everyone in the department helped, but we had a key work group. And so I want to just acknowledge Brian Barnshaw, who is here, who is now working in the Housing and Community Development Department, but when he came on board, he really helped us to get the project up and running and to do a lot of formatting. But in conjunction with our zoning administrator, Vivian Swenson, and Kendall Larimore, and John Shelton, Laura Foster's back there, and Ann Johnson. So we knew it was an important priority for our commissioners. It was an important priority for us as well. And transitioning to an online portal at the same time that our data service contract was also changing from
updating and changing from one company to another. Now we're in a system called Tyler Tech. I won't bore you with those details. But the technical transition was a little rocky to get started, but then once we did that, our team really ran with it with great success. So I want to stop talking.
Don't worry, you guys will get a chance to give your honest opinion.
And let our team take over. So this is our team. And Kendall couldn't be here this evening. Okay. Lauren?
Yes.
I'll be your van on whatever you want me to.
So I'm Lauren Pyle. Good evening. So I'm excited to kind of share our successes with the portal. It went live October 21st of 2024. And I think the success of this portal starts at the home screen. Everything that we've done is to set up user success. So the home screen is a friendly layout to make navigating simple for users for key planning and zoning resources. So the tiles on the home screen gives you easy access to searching public records, applying for permits, and everyone's favorite, paying invoices. We also have quick links to other resources such as our planning and zoning webpage, the QAC property viewer, and zoning and subdivision codes. Now, when users go to create an account, the system will actually attempt to link their new account with any existing records in our system. Some users have had issues making that link, but we've been able to successfully figure out what the issue was and resolve the issue so that no users have been able to not access the present and their past records in our system. And then to make it even easier, we have a how-to guide section that provides simple step-by-step instructions to get them started setting up their accounts, managing accounts, and then the online permitting experience. And you can go to the next one. Fun stuff. Okay, so currently the portal supports 52 different types of permits, giving users a wide access, a wide range to the different permits that we offer. So since launching, we've successfully seen 220 permit submissions. Most common are residential permits, so accessory structures, solar panels, electrical permits, and single-family dwelling permits. As of right now, we have 150 active users engaging with the portal, which is showing a steady growth and increased use for the community. And then to further enhance their experience, we've added simple descriptions with the permits and searchable keywords to help them find the right permit quickly, hopefully to improve accuracy and reducing the likelihood of any errors. While there have been some errors with the permits submitted, we respond by not only educating the person who's submitting the permits, but also by updating the descriptions and adding additional keywords to make the experience more effective. And did you want to add anything?
I did want to add that our active accounts and the number of permit submittals just keeps really growing exponentially. So we were slated to come before you about a month ago and had to reschedule, and we had statistics then. So since the end of January, we went from having 113 permits submitted to 220. So that's just in a short span. So it's really jumping. We had 105 accounts active at the end of January, and now we have 150. So when word of mouth spreads and people realize that we have great support, both still at the counter, we still do a lot of intake at the counter, but we also offer this option. We think that there are obviously going to be more and more and more permits accessed online. And eventually what we want to do is to have sort of a kiosk, and John Shelton was talking about doing this, is setting up a kiosk in the office so that if people can partially submit or pay their invoices online, but if they also have large plans, they can come in and kind of have a hybrid experience and get one-to-one service at the counter, but also instruction on the portal, because everyone is at a different level at mastering their own registration.
And now I'll pass it over to Megan, and she'll kind of guide you through the online permitting.
Right, so one of the key benefits of the online system is how it serves individuals who are out of state, have limited access, can't make it to the planning and zoning office. We've noticed an increase of applications over the weekend and the holidays as well, so it's just showing the flexibility of the system. So people with different schedules who can't make it before 4:30 can, on their own time, apply for their permits. At the same time, we continue to assist, as Amy said, those who prefer the in-person interactions to make sure everyone's accommodated. Additionally, the online portal streamlines the application process by guiding users step by step through each permit application so they know what's needed at every step of the way. We require fields for contact information, permit details, and supporting documents. The portal helps minimize the risk of incomplete or unclear applications, which can support a smoother process for both the users and the staff accepting the permits.
I have a question for you real quick before you go on. So you may have repeat offenders logging on. Do they have a username and a password that they establish?
Yes.
And they have to use that before they actually participate in this online? Okay.
The online permitting, anyone can access public records without logging in.
Okay.
Certain features are hidden if you're not a contact on that record, but they can see, can you go back to that previous slide? Anyone can see kind of that homepage of a permit or a plan that has the workflow, which kind of goes through the basic steps of whichever the permit or plan that they're working with.
But if you register, and this is something that we had to work out, a lot of people did have repeat contact information, and we had to find a way to be able to marry all of the different ways people might have entered their names in the past. So it's sort of the same with your registration. It holds with one person, and if you forget your password, you just have to reset it, like with other websites.
You can leave it that on that one.
Thank you.
All right. So when users click on a submitted permit, they'll be able to see several key features designed to help them be informed throughout the process. First, both the public and the applicant can view the permits, as Lauren, sorry, which shows the general process of the permit, whether it's applied, submitted, approved, issued, etc. Next, there's real-time permit tracking, allowing both the public and applicant to track the permit's journey through the workflow. They can see exactly what's been completed, what's in progress, and what's coming next, keeping everyone on the same page. An important note here is that we can customize the step names in the workflow to make the process easier while it still aligns with our internal process. There are also applicant-specific details to protect sensitive information. For instance, payment information is visible only to the applicant, where they can see their fees and make payments with just one click. Similarly, applicants can track the status of the department reviews relevant to their permit. They will know if the review is in progress, approved, or if revisions are needed.
And this is where our team also held a training session with other departments on how to make sure that all of the status updates were completed in the system, because not everyone was as savvy with the new system. So we did a training session. Vivian helped a lot with that training session, and continues to assist with other agencies so that you really do get real-time updates on where the holdup is, if there is a holdup with a permit.
So for inspections, applicants can also track the progress in real time, just like they can during the first part of their permit. The status will update online to show when inspections are scheduled and any changes to its status. Applicants can also access a list of their submitted documents. This includes documents they've uploaded, as well as any documents uploaded by other county departments that are participating. These features ensure that applicants can easily reference documents and allow departments to share necessary information quickly. The ultimate goal of the portal is to make permitting process user-friendly while maintaining transparency and efficiency. We aim to simplify the process, minimize uncertainty, and ensure a smoother experience for everyone participating.
And here's what's coming next.
Yes, so we're excited about the future. Currently, we're working on getting the electrical applications for licenses and registration online. 2025 is a renewal year, so God willing, that can be an option come May for electricians to renew their license. Next, we will put online applications online for liquor licenses. And last but not least is putting the applications for the planning department online. And with what we've already rolled out and the upcoming additions, we're confident that it's going to continue to enhance the citizens' experience with our department and make the portal an even more valuable resource to residents and business owners in the community.
Okay, I have a question again. You're probably happy that this is taking place because I don't have to call you all the time, right?
I like the phone calls, too.
So, homeowner is filing for a permit to have a deck built, whether they do it or their builder's doing it. And I speak from personal experience. One of the items that I had to provide was a layout of my property, and where the deck was going to go and the setbacks and all that kind of stuff, but I didn't have access to the layout of my property. Is that something they can link onto, and is that something that's going to be available? Like I was told I needed to have a topo map of my property, and
Some people have plats that have been recorded, and so we often can send people to plats.net.
and that's my question, because that's what happened. And I said, I settled on this house 20 years ago. I don't have a plat of my property.
So those records are in the land records. Those aren't records that are maintained or stored in county offices. But when there are recorded plats, we can help people to access them on plats.net. That isn't going to work for everyone.
Okay.
Sometimes it's a simple matter of assisting a property owner, a one-on-one, to draw up a site plan.
And I needed one-on-one help.
Well, our staff is very good at that.
What? I'm sorry, proceed.
Miss Vivian, is this going to help you?
Yes, we also use records from the health department and the sanitary district. So if you filed a permit within the last 10 years, either our office, the health department, or the sanitary district will have a copy of your plot plan. So we coordinate with those offices to help you, so you don't have to go out and pay for somebody to do a drawing for you.
Anything we have on file, we do scan them in, so that is part of the records that if you log back in, you can see any upload to your permit file. And so they could access that, reprint it, and then use it again for their next
Okay.
permit.
Perfect. I mean, let's face it, the whole idea is to make this very simple, right? Because, you know, we field phone calls from citizens and business owners and contractors and folks that are looking to get, you know, open up a business, and they need a sign off from the fire marshal, or, you know, what else do I need in order for me to be able to open my business doors? So this is the kind of frustration that we get. So I personally am very excited about this. Very excited. I'll still call you at least once a week.
So, otherwise, generally, I come in and do a complete year-end review, but I really wanted to showcase the hard work of staff. So you have a copy of our department's 2024 year-end review. In summary about that this past year, I can say all reviews are up. Commercial permits are up, so people are getting the help that they need to get their permits filed. Building permits are up. Our single-family dwelling permits are slightly down this year, but are still on an upward trajectory due to Perry's Retreat and Four Seasons. So we're still seeing a surge in those permits. Our planning commission is busy with the review of site plans, subdivisions, concept plans. Our minor site plans are up. Additionally, our Board of Appeals has been busy with a lot of conditional use applications and variances. There have been 4, I want to mention specifically. Cell tower conditional uses approved in 2024, and a few more on the horizon, also some mining expansions. So all of our team has been busy. I Also would like to call out that we were able to be a part of the successful review and permitting of the skate park in 2024, so that was really fun. And just, I wanted to update you also on the long-range planning end. We've had an awful lot of text amendments approved in 2024 and code updates. So we've had about 14 of those in total in this past year. And I could give you a brief trip down memory lane on what those have been. We did receive 3 citizen-sponsored text amendments in 2024, but the applicant pulled all of those and opted to come back later. But this board put forward the indoor shooting range use in some of our mixed-use districts, impact fee exemption for farm employee dwellings on conservation lands. Also, staff put forward the recreational cannabis update per requirement. That was a piece of emergency legislation. We're working on another one in 2025. Code updates that have been initiated by this board included updates to our non-water dependent structures on piers, making our camping cooperative a permitted use, which is a part of a problem that we are now untangling and correcting, changing our peer review before our Board of Appeals from a conditional use to a variance, which is more appropriate and has been working out very well, and additionally adding the definition of a shooting range and that permitted use to the commercial districts, as I mentioned. What we started, another text amendment that we started, these were all approved and enacted in 2025. The one that just didn't make it over the cusp but was effective in 2025 was the short-term rental provision. And that is in effect. Our contract with a service provider, working out all of the kinks with how that is going to work, is finalized, and we intend to start sending out notices in May in terms of contacting all short-term rental owners and letting them know that they need to apply for building permits and that they need to start paying the hotel rental tax. Stephanie Jones has been working on that in cooperation with other affected agencies like Jeff Rank, who's sitting back in the audience today. So they've been coordinating on unrolling that program as well. So,
Jack, was there a bill for upping or increasing or adding taxes to short-term rentals this year? I thought I saw something.
It's in the budget.
It is in the budget.
Yeah, it's like 30, let's say it's around 30 million, is what they're calculating, something like that. It says, I read it today, it says short-term vehicle rental, but I'm sure it's a misprint. It's short-term rentals.
So you said we went live in December with the online permits? October? Were you tracking how many people were calling and complaining, and is in the numbers, going down? So, I guess what I'm saying is if somebody tried to do it in October, November, and they finally fed up and picked up the phone and called you and said, hey, I can't do this, are you walking people through it? Is it so? But are you seeing less and less of that?
There really wasn't many to begin with.
Good.
I think the first week there might have been 2 or 3.
Wow.
But since then, it's been less than 10 altogether.
Okay.
And it's usually just user error, like finding where things are and making sense of the portal more than a portal issue. But that's why we have the guides that step by step go through what button to click, where to go, and having the team send it out to people who need additional help. Yeah.
You were 8 of those 10.
Huh? Yes, I was.
Well, great, thank you. Appreciate
so
it.
one more thing, if I may. Another thing we've been working on in 2024 is coordinating with the town of Centerville on their annexation proposal. You do have an action item a few steps down in your agenda, and I was just wondering, since I'm sitting here, if you would like me to talk about that.
You're talking about the farm?
Yeah, Providence Farm, that's appropriate.
What do they want to do with that?
So the short answer is
Yes.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you.
So do we want to move it up in the agenda and go ahead and vote on it while we're here?
Sure.
Is that
you
tab
can
3?
Take action on it if you want. Yeah, sure.
Come on.
Yeah, if you want to flip to tab 3.
That'll be consistent.
Tab 3, item 3, on pages 10 through 31. Tab 3, item 3, annexation of the lands of Providence Farm, zoning waiver request.
So this is, the property's been annexed already. The Providence Farm there was a minor subdivision in 2001 that included an open space agreement and a plat note that anticipated this eventual annexation. So there was a note on the plat that had a caveat that open space that agreement might be dissolved if the property was annexed and that no one filed a resolution, a referendum, contrary to their annexation. So that has happened smoothly. You'll see the annexation later, but the open space agreement later. But right now, what the town needs is for this board to convey their request for a waiver on the hold on the zoning classification. This is typical with any annexation. There tends to be a conflict. Often annexed land is zoned agriculture. That's the case here. And obviously the plan is to have mixed use and residential development. They intend to, and they're going through a rezoning process right now to zone that land traditional neighborhood design. So as a result, they need to come to the county and request that the county waive a 5-year hold on the ag zoning and ag density, which is in place by the land use article. It's no harm, no foul to waive that hold, and also the county has to basically agree to the land use change. Since you are looking for findings of consistency with our comprehensive plan and our code, this needs to be conveyed to the Planning Commission for their recommendation to you, and then it'll come back to you. So this is just conveying it to the Planning Commission.
The map in there, where is this property located? Because the map in here, I can't even read what that is.
Rolling Bridge across from the,
Is this next to the Y?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay, it's the rest of that farm.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And does
Farm.
does Centerville have the sewer allocation to even do anything with that property?
That's another part. So they have, another part of this puzzle is that they will be coming back with a request to amend the water and sewer plan from W3S3 to W2S2, so.
But do they have the?
what
But
capacity.
to answer your
capacity.
question, no, they do not. They do.
So they've got, Alan, while you're in here and answer this, how long is it gonna take to upgrade that plant, Alan? How many years? Ballpark? 5 years. Thank you. 30 million. All right.
Were you here, Amy, last time we had a waiver?
No, she was not. That was, no.
Well,
You know which one it was?
Absolutely,
Wheatlands, right?
yeah.
Not Barclay, I was here
No,
for
it's
the Barclay.
Wheatlands.
Wheatlands.
Farms.
Right.
Wheatlands where we approved the waiver, and then the next setting commissioners reversed the decision. And now, instead of having no residential, we're gonna have residential that we don't really want at Wheatlands. So, we've been down this road before.
I see.
So I think we'll hold this, and Phil, if you don't mind, we'll hold this till the next meeting.
Yeah, well, no, we can vote to convey it to the planning
Yeah,
commission. Get their
the only action
recommendations.
here is to convey this to the planning commission so
I'll-
they
I'll
can
make a
review it
motion
for
to
consistency,
convey
and
this to
then
the
it
planning
comes
commission.
back.
All right, I'll second that.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to convey. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
All right.
See, now you don't have to stick around.
Thank you very much.
On to you.
Well, nice job on the permits. Looking
you.
forward to that
Thank
getting
you.
up and running and stop all those
Not that,
fights.
now understand, it's not that we don't mind taking those phone calls from the citizens, because that's what we're here for.
Absolutely.
To be that
I'm going
conduit
I'm going home
to,
to get on it, just because I just filed an electrical permit. And I said, no.
So and also a big thank to all of the team members who showed up tonight.
Thank you.
Madam Director, on page 12, which we didn't go into, it said half of the new is Four Seasons and Perry. Do you anticipate the same thing this year and next? As far as new construction?
Oh.
It said,
Parish Retreat.
No.
No, I think we're getting close to build out.
Yeah.
They're close, yeah, they're almost built out.
and where's Four Seasons?
They're close to build out as well.
They're about half, right?
They're about halfway, yeah.
We're in phase
They got a
4.
long way to go.
They got about 700, 600, 700 done, I guess, close. in
Yeah,
there.
that's, I mean, that's more than, they're like
Got 1,100 total.
60%, yeah.
Yeah, they're maybe 60%.
Yeah.
Over the hump then.
Oh, yeah.
They're on the downhill side.
They're in the big money houses now.
Yeah.
Phase 4 is the last phase though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was thinking.
Any other questions?
Good.
Yeah, man. All right.
Good.
Thank you all. Thank you all very much.
Thank you all.
And now I'm gonna go build another tower, because I get to use your.
Yeah.
I'm going to come around here to this side of the bench, if you don't mind, commissioners, for this. Jeff,
I don't wanna retire now, that's so exciting.
All right. Take it away, Jeff. Or who's
this
got
is,
the opening statements?
Tag team.
yeah, we're going to work on this one together, Commissioner. So this is the FY26
Commissioner.
Administrator's Budget Presentation. So-
Commissioner.
Yeah, I can wait a second.
Patrick.
All right. Thank you, Commissioners. This presentation is the County Administrator's FY26 proposed budget. And I will say this is a culmination of a lot of hard work from all of our county departments and our county agencies. And of course, the Department of Budget and Finance Director Jeff Rank and his team. But we're very pleased to submit to you this evening a balanced operating budget for this upcoming fiscal year without any tax increases and any decreases in our levels of service here in Queen Anne's County, which we're very proud to achieve that. So just some highlights of our operating budget. There we go. Oh. So this slide depicts our revenue budget projections for next fiscal year. We're very fortunate to still have a strong property and income tax revenue. We are expecting growth in both of those areas, 12.7% in property tax, 4.1% in income tax. We have had a few property tax assessment cycles now over the past couple of years. Average increases have been about 15%, but our homestead tax cap credit increases for principal residents is capped at 5% per year. So that does help with our existing homeowners. Revenue projections are $209.1 million. This represents an overall increase of 8.8% over the current year's budget. And as you just heard, here in the Finance Office, we're also implementing the new short-term rental tax and permit management system with the Department of Planning and Zoning. We hope to capture an additional $150,000 in accommodation taxes this year. And as you can see at the bottom there on the lower right-hand corner, property and income taxes make up the lion's share of our county revenue at 85.6%. Okay, this,
While you're there, Todd, real quick, what does a penny on the property tax represent in terms of revenue versus a tenth on the income, just out of curiosity?
A penny on the property tax is about 1.1 million. Income tax is a little bit more complicated. I don't have that number, but
it's about that, yeah. Okay, this slide number 3, shows some budget highlights on the operating side. First up, we have $8.3 million for the Board of Education expenses. This is $7 million above MOE in fiscal '26. and an additional $1.3 million in the state pass down for teacher pensions this coming year. Also, due to the state budget woes, they have chosen to pass down several other expenses to the counties. As I mentioned, the $1.3 million for the Board of Education pensions, $215,000 to cover the full-time cost of the state assessment office here in town, $47,000 for additional pension expenses and retirement expenses on behalf of the Chesapeake College. And although these are pending in the state legislature, currently we are fairly confident that they're going to be coming our way in FY26. And then once we get them, they're going to be ours for the future. We also had 22 position requests this year from our various departments and agencies. I have not recommended any new position requests this year other than several new positions that would be required, if the county is granted a Second Circuit Court judge. That is also a state bill going through the process, so that would require us to add a bailiff, a jury commissioner, and a recorder, potentially another prosecutor for the state's attorney, and potentially another sheriff's deputy as well.
Really? To add one judge?
One judge.
And that's not in the 8.8% increase?
Those are included in the budget, in the operating budget proposed. Yes, they're included in there now, currently. So, yes, they are included. We also are planning to maintain a competitive cost of living, which is tied to the current rates of inflation, as well as pay for performance for our existing staff. And finally, we are budgeting just under $500,000 toward our capital program from our operating funds next year. Some budget highlights, some reorganizations for several departments. We are planning to merge the Animal Control Division, which is now currently at the Department of Emergency Services, with Animal Services that is under the Department of Public Works as a chief level position. This will return both offices to one centralized unit, similar to how they ran back in 2012 before they were separated. Provide administrative cost savings and a centralized office to handle both enforcement activities and adoption services under one manager. Secondly, we are proposing to split the Department of Community Services into the Department of Housing and Family Services and a separate Department of Aging and Transportation. And this returns those function-specific agencies back to their different population centers that they each support. And this, again, also returns them to a similar situation there where we had them separated back in 2012. And this will help us realize a modest savings operationally in future budget years. All right, next slide, please. Get some new batteries for that clicker. There we go. Okay, we wanted to talk a little bit more in depth about the appropriations and the history from the Board of Education's perspective. So this slide basically shows how the state has not kept pace with their plan to fund the Board of Education via the blueprint. You can see on the top line, it shows the projected appropriations for the Board of Education from FY22 through FY26. The second line depicts what was actually provided, and you see the third line in the red. They are negative numbers. This year, all the way over in FY26, you can see there's a $2.2 million deficit below their planned forecasted funding. And over the past 5 years, they're $9 million below what they had forecasted they'd be providing our school systems. The second set of numbers in this, below that group is what is projected for the next several years, along with what we are anticipating that we may receive. And again, you can see the state's lack of continuing support for the school system puts more burden on the county to ensure that the blueprint gets funded. And we have another slide to show that, a little more detailed. Similar to the last slide, this particular slide, the top line shows the figures that represent the maintenance of effort level required by the county to contribute to the Board of Education for the last 7 years and the upcoming year. Over the past 7 years, we have provided an excess of MOE required 4 times to the tune of $16.4 million. In addition, we are proposing this year, FY26, to provide them a $7 million increase above MOE for FY '26. And the second set of figures, again, we're showing the blueprint forecast versus what we anticipate appropriating over the next 8 years. We think, obviously, this is a very strong showing that the commissioners do have dedication and support for our public school system. And if you look at the numbers, you can see in FY '28, after this next 3-year contract is concluded with the Board of Education, the numbers for the county appropriation will start to taper off to lower percentages where they used to be prior to the implementation of the blueprint program.
So on the slide before this, in just 4 years, the state will short us $7 million.
$9 million. $9
$9
million.
million.
That was the, yeah.
So FY, it says $6,800,000.
You gotta add those all up, all those reds up there, under 22 to 26.
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah, got that.
But also, Todd, I guess it's worth saying on that next slide, and then Jeff, I asked Todd, he said he thought it was 3% that you did for the year over year.
Yeah.
But I just want the public to understand that for the last 3 years, we've been 8%. So if that trend continues, the ask continues at that level, that 107 million will be roughly $148 million. So just for your information purposes.
You know, the goal here is after the FY '27 budget, they should easily be able to achieve the minimum salary levels.
But we
for
also
teachers.
take, if the state doesn't live up, you remember, our big bump with the state is in that 27-28 budget. That's $3 million bump. If that bump disappears, then you know who's going to pay for it.
Yeah, that's certainly a potential too, yeah. These are still forecasted numbers, yeah, absolutely
I
correct.
don't trust any of them.
If I may, the 8.8% increase, what part of that is education?
You're better off to say what part of that salaries and benefits.
Yes.
Yeah.
About 84?
It's 84% based on the meeting the other night.
Yeah. Right, I think we're on slide 7. Yeah, and one last slide regarding the Board of Education funding. This is a local appropriations forecast slide. This is for the all the counties in Maryland. And you can see the projections over there on the right, they're listed out. FY '26 was 75.1 million, and that's been steady for the last 3 years, 25, 26, 27, because we haven't received any new students, so MOE is flat. And we're going to be at a funding level this year proposed at 82.1 million, which puts us somewhere in the neighborhood of FY '29, FY '30. So we're ahead of schedule in terms of the funding effort that we're providing to the Board of Education. All right, and slide.
And are they going to be on their second year of the contract or their third year?
FY '26 is year 2 of their 3-year contract, yes. So they'll have one more year after that, '27, and then they'll be in a position to hopefully be at the blueprint salary level minimums and then renegotiating a new contract with the teachers. So that, we believe that that's going to start to taper down after that contract
Well, have
expires.
to.
Yes, yes, it's going to have to, because it's not sustainable, frankly, it's for us. All right, I'm going to pass the baton to Jeffrey here. He's going to go over some of the proposed revenues and expenditures by source in a little more detail. Jeffrey?
So here we have our revenue pie chart, income and property tax at 43% of our revenues each. Other local taxes are at 7%. Transfer, service charges, intergovernmental revenues, and miscellaneous categories total the balance at another 7%. And we'll get into more detail here on the next slide. For taxes, we show continued growth in property and income, both right around 8% above current year budgeted. There's a reduction in cannabis sales taxes, which has to do with the state requiring us to funnel a large portion of that into a special revenue fund, which we will be allocating for as grants to community development organizations. Franchise fees are down due to cable television proceeds declining slightly each year. Recordation and transfer tax increases based on home sale forecasts. And Interest income is up due to continued high interest rates based on the Fed rate and expectations that this rate will be steady for at least the next 6 to 9 months. And we under budgeted that this year, so that's why it's shown such an increase.
I don't have that. Can
Yeah,
you
no,
send
I
that to
don't have
me?
that either.
Yeah, we don't have
I
that.
don't have it.
Don't have,
It's okay, just, can you send it to me?
oh, you don't have this slide?
Yeah. We go from 8 to 9, and that slide's not in there.
Okay. I'll get that to you.
We'll
all.
make that correction and get
Yeah.
that for your books, for sure. Okay.
Apologies.
Actually, we go from 9 to 23.
Hmm?
No, never mind.
I'll get you all that one. Next slide is our expense pie chart.
We don't have that either.
We don't have that either.
Just keep going.
Yeah.
Just keep going. That's all right, we can follow.
Yeah, as long as you can see it up on the
No
screen.
worries.
The largest expense being public education at 43%, followed by public safety at 24% of our budget, public works at 7%, and other county administrative functions at 6%. Other agencies include 4-H Park, Orphans Court, Chesapeake College, Library, Health Department, and Board of Elections, among others.
Just out of curiosity, I mean, this is all operating. Do we
Yes.
do any of the, I mean, this would be kind of a neat thing to see under the capital side, where all the capital money goes also, in a pie chart.
Yeah,
All right.
we can do that.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, this should be pick up where you all, okay. So page 11 is budget expenditures by department and function. Our benchmark this year was that departments do not increase at a rate higher than the revenue increase, which is 8.8%. And we'll do our best to highlight some exceptions or anomalies to that rule, if you will. First, under county administration, legal is down a good bit, basically just due to an expected decrease in attorney's fees next year. Budget and finance is up due to increases in fees that the state charges for homestead tax administration and arbitrage consulting fees required to help us manage the tax implications resulting from bond holdings. So again, the state charges us a fee to manage our 5% homestead tax, and they're raising that next year. Next, information technology is up primarily due to increases in software subscription fees.
We're going to be going through these all during our budget hearings, right? Okay, so we'll just hold the questions for then,
Yep.
unless somebody's got a
Yep.
burner. Okay.
And QACTV includes an enhancement request which would cover costs for a Civic Plus agenda and meeting management system. Overall, the county administration functions are increasing at 6.4%, under our established cap of 8.8. Next, community services. Aging is a little bit higher due to the termination of the ARPA funds primarily, and more general fund transfers required to maintain service delivery. Housing and Public Housing Authority are due to increases resulting from the absorption of the Housing Authority and ramping up to provide an improved level of service for tenants and constituents needing housing support. Overall, community services are increasing 16.2. Planning and zoning has a decrease of 1.6, which is results from the removal of budgeted expenses for vehicle purchases that were completed last year, and they won't need those funds next year because they've already purchased the vehicles. Public safety increasing at 6.5, which is moderate considering inflation and again below our 8.8% benchmark. Next page, Public Works. The increase in Public Works Administration is related to a reallocation of Baltimore Metropolitan Council grant funding, which provided partial funds to pay for an employee. Those funds we will still be receiving funds from BMC, but they will be budgeted in the capital program rather than there. So that's why that went up a little bit. There will be a corresponding decrease in capital. And overall, Public Works is only increasing 3.1%. Parks and Rec, decreases in recreation, airport, and golf course are related to a closer alignment of budgeted funds with historic actuals. And the subtotal for general county government expenses is 5.6% increase. Next, we have the Board of Education. And as was shown in previous slides, the $8.3 million increase is the combination of the $7 million for board operational expenses plus the $1.3 million due to the state on behalf of the teacher retirement program. Increases for the Board of Ed overall are 11%. Other agencies, State's Attorney's Office includes additional staffing to support the Second Circuit Court Judge. Same thing with the Sheriff's Office, as well as increases related to realignment of budget to actuals. Circuit Court increases, again, Circuit Court, Second Circuit Court Judge, and increase overall to other agencies is 7.6%, again, below our 8.8 benchmark.
That's high for the sheriff.
Debt is going up slightly at 4.7%. That is primarily due to our fall debt, our fall bond issuance. We'll have our first interest payment in the spring, and that's the reason for that increase next year. Under other, intergovernmental was up mostly due to an additional $214,000 that the state passed down on us to fully cover SDAT across the street. Reductions in non-departmental were due to moving budgeted employee COLAs from here to their respective departments. We're just changing the way we budget that this year, that's all. And salary lapse removal, another technical change to the way we're budgeting. We're not going to budget for salary lapse any longer there. We're going to keep that in the departments. And so other is up 58%. Transfers, capital, we're relying more on capital fund balance next year and only contributing $463,000 out of operating funds to capital. And other transfers include funds for the micro ag grant and other minor transfers. So again, total expenditure budget is up 8.8%, matching proposed budgeted revenue increases. And one of our favorite charts, still second lowest property tax rate in the state.
Just out of order.
And expect to be again next year.
We did have it.
Yeah.
Just out of order. We did have it, Jeff.
Okay, yeah, it
One
was,
of them, yeah.
okay.
Apologies on that. We can send out a revised version of that with the,
Yeah, I'll send it out in the morning.
17 minutes. Yeah.
Back to Todd for a little bit.
all right. So now we want, this next series of slides talks about, shows the actual budget enhancements, requests that were submitted by each department or unit specific from each agency, and the requests that have been preliminarily included in our FY26 budget proposal. First is for the airport, $4,800 for the lease of the Jet A fuel truck. The second is $8.3 million for the Board of Education to cover the $7 million of their $10 million request, along with the $1.3 million addition for the anticipated pass down from the state to cover teacher pensions. Chesapeake College, $177,000 to cover an allocation increase request for pass down from the state to supplement college personnel pensions. And lastly, the potential increase for 3 personnel members for the circuit court to cover the staffing for the second circuit court judge. And we've starred, the stars on these particular slides depict funding that we have to provide based on state actions. Okay, so 3 of those are required by the state. All right, next slide. Slide 17, this is, we included $84,000 for Economic Development Department for website upgrades, consultants for small business development, agricultural outreach, and a museum curator, as well as an event planning application for their computer systems. All right, next slide. Board of Elections, we have $124,000 for COLAs and merit pay, $16,620 for the extension service, again for salaries and merit pay. Next, we have $154,875 for the annual 5% increase to our volunteer fire service. Also note that there are $500,000 requests for new turnout gear for all the stations can be obtained through identified grant funding, so we are going to pursue that again next year. And then the radios they've requested for the new equipment can be funded through our capital improvement program for DES, or through DES. And lastly, a new pickup truck for the housing department at $60,000. All right, the next one is $215,000 to fully cover the state's local assessment and taxation office. That was another state requirement, $215,127. $141,000 for cost of living increases in merit pay and the addition of a substitute hours for the library system for those folks, and $15,000 for QACTV 7 for an agenda and meeting management application. And our last enhancement slide includes $8,600 for an online reservation system and rec coordinator cell phones for the recreation division at Parks, $85,000 for half of a year for a new prosecutor to support the Second Circuit Court judge. So our total enhancements.
Just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
Why do we do half a year?
Well, if the legislation passes July 1st, it'll take them probably 6 months to get.
Oh, you don't think they won't be
second
on
judge.
board until December?
Right, it's going to take
Okay,
a while
okay.
because they have to be.
They gotta get the
approved by
judge
governor.
That's right,
Yeah,
okay,
so it'll
that's
take a
right.
little time. So we're
Okay.
somewhat conservative there. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So our total enhancements this year totaled $14.9 million. I preliminarily have approved $9.5 million of the 14.9. Keep in mind, 1.7 million of that is due to anticipated state pass downs, which includes staffing for the circuit court judge, and 7 million for the additional Board of Education direct funding. So lion's share of that 8.7 million is for Board of Education and state requirements. All right, any questions about the enhancements? Okay. We can move into some budget highlights for the capital program next.
Well, hold on.
Yep.
Where's the rest of it? If that's 9.5 million, it was 18 million? What was 8%? The total revenues.
The requests totaled about 15 million. And then we're proposing funding 9.5 of that, of which 8.7 are Board of Ed and state required.
Now he's asking of the 8.8%, the 17 million that we were over from last year.
Right.
Where's the other, if you take that minus 9.5, what's the other money, the difference, what's that going to?
Right.
17 million over last year.
We're at 209 million, so we were 17 million basically ahead of last year's budget. And then you're enhancing it by 9.5. What else did we enhance to get to 17, to get to the expense side?
We didn't put that into capital.
Yeah, I'm not following.
Are you saying the new revenue, 9.5 was funded?
Correct.
Where's the rest of the new revenue go?
Correct,
It's-
yeah, right.
It's throughout the various departments, the increases and adjustments throughout the other divisions for,
So we'll see that when we do the
you'll
hearings.
see all the detail,
Each
yeah.
department
For each
individually?
department. Yeah.
So we'll see it during the,
But we can break it down however you want to see that. If you want to see it by division, by department, agency, we can do that too. however
Yeah,
wanna
but
see
didn't
it.
you always used to do that?
Yeah, I mean, we'll go into more
Oh,
detail
okay.
during the,
All right.
during the budget work session, certainly, yeah. Okay, so the budget highlights, this is for the capital program. First, we have $8.5 million allocated for Board of Education projects, which would include funding for partial roof replacements at Mattapique Elementary, roof and HVAC replacements at Kennard, storefront replacements at Bayside Elementary, IT network hardware, classroom hardware, furniture replacement, stadium lights, and some other small projects. And we did fund all the projects that they have state matching revenue for, like roof
That's
replacements.
what this whole list is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Stadium lights, where they're going?
They are for Queen Anne.
Queen Anne, I think. high
Queen
school.
Anne's High School?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that's right.
Okay.
They want those LEDs too, just like Kent Island and, so,
They'll be front and center here on Thursday, the Board of Education folks, so we'll
Yeah.
talk to them then. We've also included, the first phase of the design efforts for the Queen Anne's Tech Center building at Chesapeake College, $275,000 there. That's the first phase of that. Next, we have emergency services, $4.6 million, of which $3.1 million of that is from grants for the new 911 phone center, voice recording system, ambulance, radio subscriber replacement, public safety network, new protective gear, and replacement of cardiac care equipment. We have another $1.25 million allocation for the new regional hospital. We've dedicated $5 million over 4 years, so we've included that, and that was via developer exactions. Okay, next slide. We've included $900,000 to support renovation and improvement projects at our 5 housing authority facilities and the scattered site homes. $835,000 to support capital projects at our 9 volunteer fire companies. $3.8 million is currently allocated, this is grant money towards the design of the Midshore Regional Detention Center. We are still awaiting final state approval to move that forward, this coming year if we get that funding. And $3 million for the pedestrian bridge crossing over Route 50 or bridges. And we're hopeful to get some grant funding for that, to kick off that project. If not, we can look at other revenue streams for that project. For the Parks Department, we have, it's 23, yeah. Parks Department, we have just under $2 million for parks projects, including the funding for the continuation of the South Island Trail development, various capital equipment, athletic field work, and pedestrian bridge maintenance. We have, for the Recreation Division, we've included $2 million to commence with potential land acquisition, design, and contract development for a new recreation center. For General Services and Public Works, we have included $6.1 million for funding for the historic courthouse, the historic high school renovation work, wetland mitigation projects, and renovation to other county facilities, and $1.3 million for IT infrastructure, cell booster signal projects at both schools and public facilities. All right, next slide. Okay, for the Roads Division, we have funding for continuing system preservation, including asphalt overlays, bridge maintenance, rehabilitation, and capital equipment. We have the Southern Kent Islands Sanitary Project Phases 3 and 4, which includes Queen Anne Colony, Kentmore, Chesapeake Estates, Sunny Isle, Kent, Bats Neck, Normans, and Mattapique Estates, $8.1 million. We have the sanitary critical interconnections. This is funding to complete the backbone of the water system. We'll have bids on the design effort for that later this evening. That would connect the Kent Island area to Graysonville along the Main Street corridor. This would be the leg between Kent Narrows and the Graysonville School. And $275,000 for funding for the planned connection of the Marlin Farms and Dominion community. This is for planning efforts to start that sewer connection project for those areas of public health concern as well. All right, and I think Jeff's going to wrap things up here with some summaries. Go ahead, Jeff.
Now, just looking at FY '26, we plan to dedicate a little over $24 million for county general capital projects, $22 million for enterprise and special revenue fund projects, $8.5 million for Board of Education projects, for a total of $54,650,000 this upcoming year. The current 6-year CIP estimates are a total of $503 million in projects.
On the pie chart too, by the way.
This slide shows the funding types we anticipate utilizing this next fiscal year to fund this program. which are 35% capital fund balance, 25% bonds, 16% grants, 15% MDE loans, 9% other, and 1% PAYGO. And I'll create a similar chart for capital budget expenses as well by function. These next 5 slides show each individual project we're anticipating funding over the next 6 years. I'm not going to go over each one individually. We've touched upon the major projects already, but we wanted to include the full list in case anyone wanted to review each one of them. That's these 5 slides. And we get to the last slide. We have our 3 commissioner work sessions planned for this week, next week, and the following week, culminating on April 10th. We've got the tax set-off differential hearing on April 8th. Your budget, incorporating any changes to this proposed budget, will be released April 30th. And we have our 3 public information hearings, May 19, 20, and 21, Stevensville Library, Liberty Building, Sudlersville Middle again. And finally, we hope to have you all approve the budget at your scheduled meeting on June 10th. Again, we have your 3 work sessions coming up, where we'll go over this in a little bit more detail. If you have any questions at the moment, happy to entertain them.
No. We're saving them up.
Good.
Guys, anything?
No?
Nope.
That's a high-level summary of the FY26 proposal, so we'll be digging into the details here in the next couple of weeks. So we have a lot of material for you available digitally and in the binders that we provide for capital projects and for the work sessions as well.
All right.
All right? Outstanding. Thank you very much.
Thank
All right. So what do we got left? We got
A few action items.
action items?
Yeah, just action items.
Okay.
Okay, Commissioners, I believe
Tab
we
3?
can-
Tab 2?
Short
Tab
answer.
2.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, pick up at tab number 2.
just,
Jeff, thank you.
oh, yeah, 17, yeah.
Mr. Quimby, you want to come on up? Department of Public Works, we have tab 2. We've got 3 action items for DPW this evening. First item, item 1, pages 1 through 13. This is a lease agreement for Mr. Jarnell Foster. He owns a property, 200 State Street, Stevensville, and is requesting permission to cross county-owned land off of Church Street in Stevensville. We've had the county attorney draft up an agreement here, and eventually we may end up selling this property to him, but county staff has reviewed it and has no objections to allowing.
Is this
him
Mr.
cross.
B's Seafood?
No,
This is
up the street.
up the street from there? So the citizens of Stevensville will have 2 choices.
Yes, we will.
All right, I'll entertain a motion. So I'll entertain a motion.
To execute the 1-year lease agreement with Mr. Jarnell Foster, giving permission to cross the county-owned land located off Church Street in Stevensville.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Anybody have any questions for this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed, none?
All right, thank you, Commissioners.
Motion passes.
Okay. Item 2, pages 14 through 29. This is a bridge replacement and ownership MOU for High Bridge Road, just south of Millington on High Bridge Road. It's unique. This is a bridge that crosses over the railroad tracks up there, which the state owns and operates. The state wants to rid itself from the bridge, so they're either going to remove it or they're going to fix it and give it to the county.
Very well.
So we are ready to let them replace it and give it to us for future ownership and maintenance.
I
That's
move
what
to
our-
authorize the county administrator to execute the memorandum of understanding between Queen Anne's County and the Maryland Transit Administration to assume the ownership of the bridge on High Bridge Road once the bridge is replaced as new by the Maryland Transit Authority. Second, doesn't say abandoned.
I have a motion and I have a second. Any questions? Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
I've never been over that bridge. Is it concrete now, or is it?
I don't know what it's made out of. I swear,
Steel,
when
steel.
I first started working for the county, it was almost like a steel truss bridge, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's traditional concrete now.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's 2x4s.
It's a little better than that, but
It's a steel truss bridge.
Not
Yeah,
up to
it's
standards,
one
put it
lane,
that
I
way.
think. It's an interesting bridge, yeah. You should take a
You're
ride up
you're not driving your tractor trailer across the bridge.
Yeah. No mixers going across that thing, huh?
It's a long detour if we take it out, you know.
is that?
Fire service guys didn't
Yeah.
want to take it out.
Where
Is it Ice Road Truckers?
On High Bridge
That's about what you
Road.
feel like, but
That's up south of
Whether you're gonna
Millington.
make it or not.
South of Millington, yeah.
Should be a map somewhere in your packet.
Yeah, I believe there's a map in there, but I can get you directions if you want to get those. All right, item 3, page 30, is the Graysonville Critical Water Interconnector Water Main Design Bid. We got $100,000 for design fees to construct this 8,600-foot, 12-inch water main from Oyster Cove to Graysonville. And this is the bid documents. This is item
Yeah,
3.
Motion to convene as sanitary?
Tab 3.
Sanitary Commission.
There is no page 30.
Todd, where you at?
I'm sorry.
This is tab 2.
2.
Very last
Two.
page on mine.
I'm sorry, tab 2 is Public Works, tab
That's
2,
right. There you
page
go.
3. Sorry about that.
Page, what?
Page,
Page 30.
did I say
The
3?
very last
30.
page.
Very last page. There we go.
Very last.
So we received 10 bids, ranged from 41,000 to, believe it or not, 910,000. I don't understand that.
It's a long drive from DC.
That's all right, that's all right, that's all right.
You got it?
I move to award the bid for the design of the Graysonville Water Main to Site Studios in the amount of $41,225.
Did I get a second?
Yes, I said
I
second.
did? Okay, speak up.
Yes, sir.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That one's so moved.
You see the bid of $910,000? Why don't we take that?
You know what?
one?
They got to put them up in a hotel room. They got to pay travel expenses.
It's not Washington State, it's Washington DC.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alan.
All right,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
hanging out.
All right, we
Tab
have
three.
3 action items and 2 desk items. If you want to turn to tab 3.
I'm trying.
So tab 3, item number 1, pages 1 and 2. And we have Mr. Joe Pippin here tonight. This is the Maryland Agricultural Land Preservation Foundation State Matching Funds Program. This is a letter of intent to participate in this year's program. So we don't know how much we're going to have, what we're going to get, but we have to file a letter to,
Right.
Right.
to letter of
I
intent.
move to approve the letter of intent to participate in the Maryland Agricultural Land Preservation Foundation Matching Funds Program.
Second?
I have a motion and a very weak second. All in favor? No, actually, well, hold on a second. Yeah, anybody have any questions regarding this? This is just
Preliminary.
something you have to do to get started.
Right, exactly.
Okay, all right, no worries.
Any
All right, so, all
Just
in
real
favor?
quick on the budget, what's the latest on, yeah, go ahead and take the vote.
Yeah, so, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Is it still looking like it's frozen until 29, or what? Or are they getting some back?
No, I had a Zoom meeting this morning, actually, with the mouth board. And the number, one thing I was going to go over tonight with you guys is 25-26, and that's a 2-year cycle. The general allotment per county is going to be $675,000.
Okay, so it's cut dramatically.
It's cut dramatically.
And
Now,
no
that's
second bite at the
proposed, that
apple,
is.
right?
That's
that
if they
is-
all take the, so if they
No,
don't.
but there's no no second bite at the
There's no
apple. It's the other
second
thing they
round?
want to get rid of, right?
Right.
Trying to
so
get rid of the
that's- that
second
is
round?
proposed,
So they're gonna
it still
consume
could
the
be.
money.
No, they're going to put solar on it.
No, they're going to
Let me talk.
keep it, yes.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So if you're
So it
not,
still could be 0.
yeah.
Right.
You know, this is proposed right now as is.
Well, that's better because it was 0. That's like
I
2
mean,
weeks
absolutely.
ago, it was 0, so.
And then we, you know, if, like you guys always do, if you want to put in your matching funds now, we'll come back April 22nd, that meeting, and we'll get that, we'll lock that in.
Yep.
But the second bite's definitely off this go-around, right? There won't be.
A second
The funds coming
round?
back, you won't have the second bite at the apple on these, right? This go-around coming up, or is it the
Yeah,
next year?
you know, it depends on how our farmers bid, you know. Usually we do. We have a good chunk of second round offers because.
Right.
But I thought I heard in the budget amendment that they were talking about where they were gonna basically sunset it for 3 years, that even if they did bring it back, that the money was gonna stay in the pot for the next year you weren't gonna be able.
Second round offers.
Yeah, the second round offers were gonna go away. That's what I'd heard. I'm hoping
It
that's
sure
not the
sounds
case.
like
hope
it's
that's not the case
consistent
either.
with what the, with their cuts anyway.
And I think it's the whole idea is if, because what is it? There's a ton of money comes back after the first round typically. That's how we always get a good chunk of it.
Is the
Is
second
their-
round, yeah.
Well, their thinking is then we may not have to finance it next year, so they can call it a budget cut, right? Because they say, oh, we got this money left over from last year, and they'll just use it.
Oh, right,
It
right.
depends on what other counties do. They might not want it, they might say, we're not doing this year, then
Well,
we get
I
more
hope so.
money.
I'm hoping that's kind of how it falls, because it's not gonna be a big pot of money.
But they'll use
anymore.
it, Jack's assuming that they're gonna take the second round money and just pay it forward to the next year, not have a second round.
Yeah, That's,
Right.
because then like I said, then they can say, oh, we cut it, because we didn't put no more new money in, we just brought it forward. So hopefully that's not what they do, but it's,
Things up in the air right now.
yeah. So, next week, I guess you'll know for sure, right, what's in it, pretty much.
If they don't extend the session. Nobody,
Yeah. I
they're
don't-
talking about that too.
Yeah, that was the rumor today, so we'll see. I hope not.
Yeah.
Everybody benefits. Excellent.
So you stuck around for that?
I'm here. Yep, absolutely. Donna, she's,
Already
gives her apologies, but she's,
semi-retired?
she's on the mend.
Oh.
She has
Uh-oh.
hurt her back and her shoulder at the same time, so.
Really?
Wow.
Told her to stop riding dirt bikes.
Rough horses, something.
Hopefully she'll be back by end of the
Well,
week.
can you tell
Thank
her
you,
we
sir.
appreciate her going over to Annapolis and
I
fighting
will,
against,
definitely.
she went over and fought against the SB
Joe?
931.
Joe, well done on your first solo act.
Thank you. Yes.
Great job.
That's this chair.
You came in just in time for the state to pull all the money out. See ya.
Okay.
Next.
Ready, next item, item 2, tab 3 again, item 2, pages 3 through 9. This is a standard operating policy update for public information. And this is a revision that primarily addresses the separation between public information policy for information and communication technology from the personal use of social media policy, which is a human resource policy. So this policy basically directs how county workers are to disseminate information, official government information on behalf of the county commissioners, apart from their own use of social media.
I move to approve the Information and Communication Technology Public Information Policy number 700-007 and make them effective March 31st, 2025.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this? Just be careful what you post. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And this one, so moved.
Okay. All right, thank you, Commissioners.
We've already done 3.
Item 3 has already been taken care of. So we have the 2 desk items. The first one is a grant support letter for the renovation of the Tucker House. This is a support letter for the Heritage Fund grant.
What Tucker House?
Tucker House,
I
right in
move to
Centerville.
execute the letter of support for the renovation of the Tucker House for 2025 Heritage Fund Grant Preservation, Maryland.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Anything else you want to tell us
So
about the
moved.
Tucker House?
Stephanie, do you have it? You can give it to her
Anything
right
else you
now.
wanna
She's
tell
waiting
us?
for it. Do you have it?
About the
Patrick, I got it.
It'll get signed tomorrow, and then Sherry will give it to me.
Anything else you want to tell us about the Tucker House?
About the Tucker House?
Yeah.
It's-
Do your homework. We gotta roll. We gotta roll.
Yeah.
He's gotta go. He's gotta go. Where are we next?
One last item, desk item 2, support letter for MDOT's request to support the Eastern Shore Freight
These are the desk items.
Rail Growth and Reliability Project. This is a support letter to the Congressman Harris to encourage his support in FY26 federal budget process for MDOT's enhancing Eastern Shore Freight Line rail growth and reliability. This is our rail line out here to 301 up to Roberts Station and all the way up to Massey. Needs some work, needs some work. Yep.
I need a motion.
I move to execute the letter of support from the Maryland Department of Transportation request for funding in the FY26 process for its enhancing Eastern Shore Freight Rail Growth and Reliability Project.
I got a motion.
Second.
I got a second. I got a motion and I got a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Thank you, Patrick.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. That's all we had this evening. Press and public comment.
Public comment? Nobody signed up? Okay,
Roundtable.
roundtable. Jack, you want to go first?
You probably don't want me to, but I'm more than willing to.
Well, so wait. Is it all good news or is it bad news?
Well, no, I'm gonna truly do a roundtable where you all can chime into my comments and add your 2 cents to it, because we've segued budget tonight, so I'm going to stick with budget since our first session is Thursday. So if you'd like me to go last, that's fine.
Nope, I'd like you to, I'm gonna slide my time to you.
Okay,
I
so,
don't
well,
have
no,
any-
I actually think it's important that we all participate in this, because this is about the budget.
Okay.
So first, I want to do a little framing of where we are from the state. Todd has highlighted a couple things that we are absorbing from the state, which we call cost shifts from the state down. And I'm not going to be political about this, but I'm going to say, as I sit in Annapolis and hear the belly aching about the cost shifting coming from the feds to the state, and how horrible and terrible that is, and yet I sit here as a county commissioner and hear the state shifting costs to the county. The hypocrisy never ends. I mean, it's just ridiculous. How can you complain about one when you're doing the same exact thing to all 24 jurisdictions? All right, off my soapbox for that one. That was, just had to throw that one in there. So our budget works, we all know, right? We have mandates, we have services we must provide, and then we have what I call quality of life services, which can tend to be your parks and things like that. Mandates, obviously, the Board of Ed is our biggest mandate. And when our budget going in this year, we've already highlighted some of it at 11% increases. Even anything 6% and greater is unsustainable at the county level going forward. That $141 million number I extrapolated out of the last 3 years using an average, and even got conservative and took it down a notch. But $141 million by 2034. And looking at the state, and I want to highlight this for all my teacher friends watching. As I said last year in 3 different budget sessions to all of you, go to the state. The money you want is the money the state's not giving us. You heard Todd highlight earlier, $9 million over 5 budgets, right? If we had $9 million additional dollars going into our coffers at the Board of Ed, they would be having a great time over there doing their budget and not worrying about a $2.6 million deficit. So I can't reiterate again, because I will at the budget sessions this time, that you need to go to the state. And I know they had Red Apple Day down there, and I didn't hear anybody with signs or see signs telling the state as they sit there during their budget session and say, we are funding education 100%. I call bullshit. I'm sitting here looking at a sheet that says that the state is underfunding Queen Anne's County $2.242 million this year coming up.
All year.
That's just this year, right? So they are not fully funding education as they set out in 2018 under the blueprint. It is short. It's going to continue to be short. That number continues to grow. The cliff we talked about earlier is 2028. That's when the state is due to up our ante almost $3 million. We have no confidence at this table that that $3 million is going to be there in 2 years, which means the county will be on the hook for that money. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it's a false narrative to say that the state is funding education 100% and their portion of it. Got that off my chest. And here with us, 8.8%, I think that's an awful big increase, gentlemen. I mean, times are tough. Assessments just came back extremely high. I believe that this is a budget where we have to look at giving some back to the taxpayers. I fully will definitely lobby you gentlemen for some kind of a property tax decrease going in, because I think that's only fair to the citizens. 17 million is a pretty big jump, and I don't think we need to keep that all here in the county coffers. So that's just my 2 cents on the budget.
Jim?
I think I'm not going to try and, outdo Jack, so I'm going to leave it alone. So, I'm good.
Patrick?
There's been some folks posting whatever, who cares, but to the commissioner's point, they're saying that we spend less per pupil, but that is just not true. When you have the folks next to us in the next county over that get state funding for $12,000 a pupil, and we get about $5,000. So the county, the taxpayers are having to pay more per pupil than our neighbors that are being more subsidized by the state. So I would like to share, and I want to thank my fellow colleagues here. This is kind of cool. On Wednesday, May 7th at 6 p.m. in Cecil County, they're going to have a town hall on dredging the Conowingo Dam. This is very exciting. Secretary McElwain will be present, from what I'm being told. And all it's going to do is MDE is going to discuss the relationship with the Army Corps of Engineers regarding to do a study to dredge behind the dam. So, more to come. I thank you guys for putting up with me and supporting this. It's really a team effort, and it doesn't mean anything. I know that Ronnie is probably saying, okay.
Well,
all right,
you know
so
what, let me tell you.
we're going to start all over again.
So I'll tell you what. So for the folks that have been involved in this process for the last 8 to 10 years, it has been a daunting task. But Patrick, you bring a renewed level of excitement, hope that perhaps maybe some things will be different this time around. And sometimes you have to reignite something. So kudos to you for staying positive and
No, it wasn't me. It was Cecil County, it was Hartford County, it was Ronnie Fithian, it was Chip McLeod.
And it was Patrick McLaughlin in Queen Anne's County.
No, it wasn't.
All right.
Beth, can we get that out there? I'll talk to you about, can we post it? It's just to let people know that they can go up to the town hall.
What's the date again?
May 7th at 6 p.m. Wednesday. It's in the Elk Room at 200 Chesapeake Boulevard, which I think is the commissioners.
It's their,
I think
actually, that's the county building,
the
yes.
county commissioner building.
Yep. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Go on, Chris.
Good night, Chris.
Wake up, Chris, to say goodnight.
I think the power's going to your head, Phil. You're trying to stay awake already.
Yeah,
You want to
Oh, that's right, Chris, out of sight, out of mind. Do you have anything you want to add to Roundtable?
So I'll add, on the topic of education, we are number 8 in the state for local per pupil funding. That's what Queen Anne's County is number 8, which I think is a great thing. If you look at the state contribution, third from last is what the state gives for our pupils. The state gives almost 3 times as much for a student in Somerset County. And so you would think that all students should be the same to Annapolis, but it's not. State of Maryland, Annapolis, views our students as being worth far less than 22 other counties. That's where the money needs to come from for education to make a difference. Looking through our budget, you see how much we have. We're number 8. If you look at the ones that are above us, those are counties with billions and billions of dollars in their budgets. So we punch way above our weight when it comes to education funding, and we need to make sure we point that out every time. That's all.
Thank you. Now I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.